Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ambitious Views podcast. This is the first episode. My name is Corrigan, and here's my co host. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
I'm Blaze Hill, hosting with Corrigan, because he needed somebody else to really make the show pop.
Right. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So Blaze been a good friend of mine for a while. So happy to have her on. Happy for y'all to be here. Pretty much the overall purpose of the podcast is to talk about film, television, and entertainment as a whole. And sometimes we may even get into storytelling in a whole different aspect, right? So the main thing is just to sit back and relax, whether you're in your car, you're at the office, whatever the case may be, you chilling in the back porch, just tune in and enjoy yourself. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. All right. So I want to start off with this or that. Okay. We're going to start off with this or that. I'm going to see what Blaze is going to say. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I hope she's ready. All right. So, all right. Here's the this or that. Would you rather be a student at Hogwarts or a student at Professor Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters?
Oh, that is a question because both of those are dangerous situations. And Hogwarts, you got to deal with Voldemort coming to kill Harry. And then at Xavier School, you never know when y'all get called for a mission.
True.
Um, with that being, also when if the government is gonna attack,
Because ain't nobody liking the mutants.
they don't like the mutants. But you know what? I've been black all my life, and a lot of people don't like black people. So I think I'm gonna go with the mutants and go with Xavier School because I can play sick and not do a mission, But so I'm gonna have to go with Xavier.
Hey, I feel you on that one. I probably have to go with the same thing, to be honest. At least I'm learning where I'm going. Free
Right.
room and board. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of living the life. You might have to say the world. That's probably your only payment, but I'll probably do the same thing. So that's pretty dope. So, but cool, man. So we're gonna try to bring these to you. Challenge each other or whatever. See what each other's gonna say. We're gonna be bringing it back. But I'm definitely interested to know where you all would do in that situation with school, Hogwarts or Professor Xavier's, aka the X-Men School for the Young and the Gifted. All right. We like to, kind of catch up on things or whatever, see what we, watching or whatever the case may be, So we're gonna call this segment like watch list. All right. So Blaze, what's on your watch list? What you finishing up? What are you watching now? How is that going for you?
All right. So I think it was Sunday. I finished up the new season of Vikings Valhalla. That was a really good season. I think they already done with the third season, so just waiting patiently. Um, you told me to watch Demon Slayer, and I was like, okay, my story with anime goes back to literally the first year I started teaching, and my students have been trying to get me to watch anime for years, but there's so many. And so you narrowed it down. Start with Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
like it. I'm on the third season. I got like 4 episodes left.
Okay.
And then somebody has persuaded me to start Naruto. So that one's
Yeah,
gonna be next for me.
yeah.
And then I really enjoyed Interview with the Vampire last year. And Anne Rice has a new seat. Her books is turned into another series, Mayflower Witch. So I started that. Not the same pop as Interview, but
Mhm.
I'm working with it.
Yeah.
It's good so far. What about you? What are you watching?
Well, we finished up Demon Slayer, so that's why I want to put you on. I really enjoy Demon Slayer. As far as my, anime catalog, even though I'm out here recommending things to folks, it ain't that deep, y'all. So don't be coming from my head. But like it started off with Naruto, my wife Audrey, she got me onto that. And then after we did that, we went to Hunter x Hunter, which is pretty straight. I feel some type of way about, the last arc, but that's the conversation for a different day. All right. But that, and then we've been in and out of Boruto for a little bit. So yeah, but overall, finished up Demon Slayer. Really dope. Ready for the new movie to come out and series that I feel like should be coming out later on this spring. So we really looking forward to that. And I'm currently passively watching this show called Little America. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. It's a show on Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, or whatever. And so the concept is really dope. So it's like a narrative. It's a live action narrative series that talk about the real experiences of individual people in America. So like the first episode, the cool thing about it, you got to see them like they own their own hotel, they were entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But the main character, which is their son, had to witness them having to go back to their home country because of visa issues or where the case may be, and just seeing his life. But the cool thing is you get to see a picture and find out more about what happened to them after the show. And it's only like 30 minutes. So it's like one about him. It's another about this black guy. He's Nigerian, and so he's in college and he's admiring like the westerns because that's what he grew up watching back in that time. So it's just pretty dope. So I highly recommend checking out that. I'm still within the first season of that. Like I said, it's just a passive watch. But for the most part, that's all that I'm kind of watching right now. We're trying to figure out which is going to be the next anime. Are we going to get into what's that called, Death Note, or are we going to kind of binge Boruto a little bit since we let the episodes kind of build back up again? I don't know which one we're going to jump back into, but for the most part, that's what I'm on right now. Let's get into this real take. Let's get into this real take. All right. So we're gonna talk about. I know it's a little late. We almost in February. Don't judge us on that. We catching up. Okay. But but Blaze, like when it comes to content that you really like, shows, movies, whatever like that you enjoy last year, 2022. What were some TV shows that like and movies that kind of stood out to you?
Okay, so before I talk about that though,
Mhm.
somebody told me not to watch Boruto. It was trash and I should skip it. So if you're an anime fan, if that's not true, I'm sorry, but that's what I was told. They said bypass that and then watch like Assassination Classroom next or something.
So, assassination, that's on our list too. I'm
Okay.
gonna be I'm gonna be honest. It's not it's I think everybody comes off the height of what Naruto ended on.
Mm-hmm.
They try to equate it to Boruto, which is fair. But I will say that Boruto gets better as it goes along. Like literally, by the time
Okay.
he had stopped, it got pretty dang good. But I will say you have to go a few episodes in. Okay, just a
I was
few
gonna
episodes.
say
Yeah,
seasons.
none seasons got. I think it's still like in a long one season thing. But
Okay.
but yeah, but it's very intriguing. Where we at now, it kind of connects to what you said at the beginning of the very first episode, like the first 5 or 10 seconds or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of bringing things all together because they go in, like, spoiler, they go into the future at the beginning of the episode and then present day. But it's
Okay.
just like in the whole present day that you watching, it's like, okay, that happened, but where's that connect? And now it's finally connecting, even though they're still young. So it's starting to get very interesting because they putting things in place and stuff. So it's not the same as Naruto, but I will say this: the beginning of Naruto was very slow. Like a lot of people, if you ask them, a lot of them probably even use like watch lists to get through some of the fillers. Cause I know we did. Like I like to get straight to the point. Audrey likes to get straight to the point. So it's just like,
Yeah.
we get to it. But we did realize that sometimes using the filler list that we would use, we would be missing out on some really cool episodes or whatever, which I can't tell because I don't want to spoil it for you. Um, but yeah, so I would recommend, like, once you into Naruto, you're gonna want to watch Boruto no matter what. It's kind of like that cousin. You may not talk to that cousin that much, but you
Yeah.
know their family, so you gonna respond back to their comment on Facebook, whatever case may be, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you already in there. So
I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Got to
yeah,
start Naruto first.
yes,
But
definitely.
as far as like things I watch last year. They came out last year. House of the Dragon, like, had me on the edge of my seat every week. So much so that I listen to the podcast for that show every week because I
Wow.
need y'all to break it down because there was a lot of stuff going on. And like I remember one thing they would say on the podcast is like it was like Westro TMZ. It really was. And I used to say like Westro Gossip Girl. It was a lot of drama. a lot of a lot of drama. Um and that's on HBO. If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest, especially if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
do it just
True. True. Man, like House of Dragon, like I mean, at this point, like, spoiler alert, I'm gonna be honest. I enjoy House of Dragon, but I have a love-hate relationship right now with House of Dragon just because of the way it ended. It ended so freaking good. I had to deal with their drama for so long. They stressed the king out for so freaking long to where he was freaking rotten. And then after, he dies and everything like that, and the son dies, and it's like, what you gonna do? She turns around and then and it's just like, no, like, what are we doing?
mm-hmm.
And so, because I thought it was gonna be a standalone show,
Oh
I thought it was gonna be
no,
a one and
no.
done thing, and
The
they
Dance with
extended it,
the Dragon
man.
is a long thing. I mean, I haven't read the book, but like I'll read about like I read like little things about it, and it's a lot of stuff with the Dance with the Dragon. That's why they did all those time jumps and stuff because it's a lot of stuff to cover. Um, and that was actually one of my biggest issues with it is some of the time jumps. I was like, I kind of wish we would have solved this. But I mean, I understand when you only got like 60 something minutes, you got to get it done. So,
Yeah, that's dope. But yeah, like House of Dragon was straight. It was pretty dang straight. I think I like it more once I see the second season because it's just like I the way it ended, I'm just like, and now I
mm-hmm.
gotta wait, So
Right. And we probably won't get it again until next year. So, and it's
yeah,
January of
right, right.
23.
2020 freaking four, man. Good gracious.
But another show that was like amazing was Interview with the Vampire. My coworker has been telling me, watch this show, watch this show. Have you watched it? And I was like, no, I haven't. And finally I was like, fine, I'll watch it.
Mm.
Turned the first episode on and I was like, I can't go to sleep. Gotta watch the next episode. Like it's good. It has I think his name is Jacob Anderson that was in Game of Thrones as Grey
Oh
Worm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's the lead in it. And it's I never saw the movie, but it's kind of like the movie, just like I think they changed the time period to kind of match the fact that they changed the character Jacob plays to a black man, and so now it takes place in New Orleans during like the 1920s era. So they add that extra element to it, but it's really good. Highly recommend. Highly
Cool.
recommend.
Oh yeah, I saw like a preview for that or whatever, and I was like, okay, dude from Game of Thrones, that's pretty dope. It tickles me because you said, like they changed to a black man. So, because where was it placed before? And I guess where did you say it was
I think
placed?
it was like 1910 or maybe even 1810.
Yeah, was it in New Orleans too?
Mm-hmm. It was in New Orleans.
Okay, cool, cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
so that shift to time was actually pretty good using a black man because of like they talked about like this neighborhood or this street that was very popular for black people
Mm,
in New Orleans at that time that kind of got dismantled because of politics. And so
politics.
I actually learned stuff from the show about New Orleans. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's dope. That's what's up.
And then the other two shows that I really enjoyed last year were on HBO. And by the way, Interview with the Vampire is AMC, but
Mm,
Winning Time and Peacemaker, HBO, they
mm.
did their thing with those two shows. Like Winning Time definitely had me like, wait, what? Ain't no way Magic Johnson was wilding like this. And then Peacemaker, first of all, I'm a wrestling fan, so I love me some John Cena. So obviously I'm gonna watch for John Cena. But like he was great in it. It was funny. The overall plot for Peacemaker was good.
Yes.
I was hooked. Like, and I'll be honest, I had low hopes for it, but it ended up being pretty good.
Yeah, like Stranger, like not Stranger Things, but what's it called? Like Peacemaker. I said for last year, Peacemaker was the best superhero related show out. And
I
probably
agree.
I would say almost probably the best
I
of
agree.
lately as far as, things like he was great. It wasn't corny, that all of the actors, the whole cast like did their thing. The production was great. Like definitely
That
was one of
corny
the
part, it was not corny.
no, it was
Yeah.
real funny. Like
Hmm.
which I
And
feel
that's
like
why
is
I said I had low expectations because usually DC they try so hard to be like dramatic and then throw like little comedic elements in. And so I was
yeah.
like, I don't know, but it was very funny.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So, yeah, like that's really cool. So, like my list, definitely at the top. Some people like kind of looked over the show. Not too many people really, talk about it. But one show that like ended like the last season was the third season on Netflix, Locked and Key. Like we really, enjoyed that. It was a really solid ending to the whole series. If you haven't heard about it, it's a Netflix original, and it's basically about this mom who have these three kids, and basically they moved to an old family house of their dad's because their dad had died, and it's so good I don't want to spoil like what actually happened, but basically they moved there and they're trying to get adjusted, and what ends up happening, the youngest brother ends up coming across this random key that's in the house, and basically they find out that there's multiple keys that do unique things around the home or give them powers and stuff like that, but it's connected to some other historical things that brings about a whole nother like situation in the series. So if you haven't checked out Lock and Key and you like sci-fi slash fantasy or whatever like that, I highly recommend it. And honestly, I would say for the most part, it's even mostly family friendly as well and stuff like that. But a really solid series, which I feel like is not easy to do. The Invisible Pilot is a docu series that I was recommended to me. A coworker of mine, Benny, he told me about the Invisible Pilot. He said, "You gotta watch it, man. You gotta watch it." I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna check it out." So basically, the Invisible Pilot is about a pilot that did a lot of things where it was with cartel, government things, and stuff like that, or whatever. I'm not going to spoil it because it's going to take away from the entire series as far as the experience. But the most tripped out thing about it, the guy is from Arkansas. And the whole operation was running, or how he operated was in and out of Arkansas. And
Okay,
so,
Arkansas.
I highly recommend that. It's on HBO Max. It was pretty dope. So
Put us
I'm a
on the map.
yeah,
Us
yeah, yeah,
two,
yeah.
but we
Well,
on the
yeah.
map.
So yeah, so that was pretty dope. The Descendants. It was a really cool documentary that recently came out not too long ago. I think it's actually an award-winning doc as far as like in the film festival area. But basically, The Descendants is about this place called Africa Town. It focused on the actual direct descendants of very recent um, Africans who were enslaved in America. And so the cool thing about it is that it takes you on a journey of some of the cultural things that they kept intact, the family history, how they still had, some documents and footage from an actual person who was actually on the boat. But the unique thing about it is that people kept on talking about that they knew where the boat, like they knew where the boat had landed at or was placed at and everything. And there were some historical facts that should have connected them to finding out more details about it, which is not easy to do. Well, basically, it's about the journey of them finding connections and evidence that there was a boat that was brought to, I think it was Mobile, Alabama, and it was on the outskirts and it was associated with this family that actually was connected to the operations of that trade. I highly recommend it. When it comes to topics like this, people try to erase history and everything like that. Thankfully, these are one of the projects that are bringing, truth to the light. So definitely for my people out there and those who want to seek the truth about things or whatever, I highly recommend The Descendants on Netflix.
Oh,
Um,
cool, cool.
yeah, you gotta check that out. That's just
Oh, I am. I swear, you put me on like the best documentaries.
I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to. Another thing that did not come out last year, but we watched it last year and highly enjoyed it. I think it was something that we enjoyed on probably maybe the most, maybe is Clone Wars. I am a Star Wars fan. So I did finally watch the Clone Wars series. Somebody recommended it to me. So I finally started and finished it last year. And it's really dope, y'all. Like if you are into Star Wars and you've only watched the movies, and you ever wanted to know about loose ends and all this stuff like that, like Clone Wars is that deal. Like me personally, I would say that to me, Clone Wars is the best thing that could have happened to the whole Star Wars franchise, in my opinion. In my opinion.
Now I gotta watch it.
You
You
have to watch it. It's good. Episodes ain't that long. So if you like me, you ain't gonna get sleepy too quick. You can keep on rotating, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty dang cool. Gives a lot of context. And I will say, especially if you haven't watched it and you see that Mandalorian season 3 is coming out, and then Ahsoka is coming out. If you don't know who Ahsoka is and you have been watching Mandalorian and you really liking it, this series is going to bring a lot of details that they could not put in the movies. They're going to bring
Ooh.
it to the screen. And so it's really dope. Really, really dope. Especially where Mandalorian seems to be heading in the third season. I definitely feel like what we've learned in Clone Wars is definitely gonna kind of finally connect for us when it comes to the experience in Mandalorian season 3. So highly recommend. Highly recommend. Um, One thing that we pretty much binged last year because we never did give it a try. It was always on the list. Kind of like I used to hear a lot about Game of Thrones, and like we just never got into it. Finally did it and enjoyed it and binge.
Smart, smart.
Is Stranger Things, y'all. Let me tell you.
Wait, you just watched Stranger Things last
Yes, this is a safe space. You should not be judging.
year?
And I feel like
I
you
am
was
so sorry. Well, welcome to the upside down. Welcome. It's about time.
It's about to, hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all what. Shout out to the Stranger Things fans. Why? Because y'all did a great job without spoiling what the show was about. I never, as many things that was
That's
said,
right.
shown, the songs that was even at TikTok recently, because that's how like literally after the like that,
Running up
we
the
still
hill.
hadn't
Yeah.
even watched it all the way up until that point. We didn't know anything. We just knew it was connected to Stranger Things and still didn't get it. So shout out to the loyal and good peeps that are fans of
Yeah.
Stranger Things. Like we watched it, we loved it, enjoyed it. Really great writing, man. Really great
Yes.
acting. Like the actors. Hopper, I will say, I think is probably my favorite character. I think
Who?
Hopper.
Hopper. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, it's a really dope uh series. Like if you haven't watched Stranger Things, watch it. If you really want that really good down to earth, like feeling, sci-fi, adventure,
Hmm.
great, like
Funny,
yes, like oh
action.
man,
Yeah, it literally has everything.
everything, especially like twists. Oh man,
Hmm.
season four was the best. Season four to me
Yeah.
was the best series. I mean, the best season to me. So kudos to them.
I will say I was a little mad with this last season that every episode was like a mini movie. I was like, are
Oh
y'all
yeah.
serious?
Yeah, I will say that at first I was kind of like, where are we going with this? Like it was kind of
Yeah.
long, but I do appreciate the character development, especially
Yes.
with 11 in a sense, and then kind of giving a different perspective of other characters and helping us kind of see them grow
Hmm.
as they are, or whatever like that. I mean, the way they ended it, I'm looking forward to it. I personally feel like for this last season, they're gonna pull a Game of Thrones, and we probably gonna get a movie per episode, and it may only be probably like 4 to 5 episodes. I feel like personally, but I
Three
may be
episodes. They're
wrong, man.
gonna be like, "This how y'all get. Be happy."
Right, because I'm like, how can you even top that? Even though the way they did, it's like what's gonna happen now, kind of thing, man.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. So I really hope this last season turns out well for them because I really hate when seasons go so good and then it doesn't you know
Thrones.
I wasn't trying to say nothing. Even though I will say it was kind of crazy how it ended. It was like I really do feel like now that they're getting ready to do a Jon Snow focus series that I
Hmm.
feel like is gonna make up for how it ended. You know what I'm saying? And almost it's kind of like one of those things, I don't know. It's gonna be crazy, but we gonna see.
I tell people that have never watched Game of Thrones, like if they don't want to be mad, watch the first 3 episodes of the last season and stop. Don't watch nothing else.
Nothing
Nothing else.
else.
Now, if you don't mind being mad, go and watch all of it. But you're gonna be mad.
I was just shook, man. I think that was my main thing. I was just like,
Yes.
dang, that's how they gonna end it. Dang, John gonna go back to the wall. And you
Well, now that part makes sense though. Like the man's favorite saying was, "I don't want it. I
yeah,
don't want it." He
yeah,
never wanted to. All he wanted to do was be at the wall. So like that made sense. It's just the way that they got there. I was like, why?
yeah,
All that character development for 5 seasons, and this is where we at. But okay.
yeah. But
we, we,
I ain't
Go
gonna
ahead.
lie, shoot, watching House of the Dragon,
Hmm.
it kind of makes sense now because they all crazy.
Right.
'Cause
It's just Targaryens.
man, I'm trying. I'm interested to see. You probably already know, but I'm interested to see like who child or grandchild is she or whatever like that, or who she's connected to. But don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. So, but I'm definitely interested in that. I'm definitely interested to see if we're going to finally see about who the mad like how the Mad King came about. Like is Game of Thrones
There
is
are
picking
talks of turning it into like an anthology series
Mhm.
based on the Targaryens. Like the first couple seasons is going to be about the deaths of the dragons. Then they're going to go to something else and something else. So I'm looking forward to that, especially since we're going to get to see the decline of the Targaryens to the point where Daenerys was at.
Mhm. Gotcha. Dope. 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 But yeah, so Clone Wars, Peacemaker, Stranger Things. I also watch Winning Time Lakers. That was really dope to watch. I'm really into learning how things develop and everything like that. So between watching Winning Time and then going back and watching the Lakers docu series on Hulu,
Oh yeah, I need to check
it's
that out.
been yeah, like and that was really dope. Like that's it's a lot of information in there, man. Like it's really dope. I really do see how the Lakers have developed a fan base like they do and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I definitely recommend both of those series if you haven't watched. Watch the Winning Time first and then watch the docu series, and I feel like you'll really get your money's worth. Another thing, at least going back to Disney, I watched Miss Marvel,
Hmm.
and that was pretty dope. I really like the creativity that they put into it. I feel like it was very unique compared to the other series they put out. Some people are surprised when I say it's like in my top two, just because I feel like from an entertainment standpoint and keeping consistent, I just really enjoyed it. Maybe I kind of in the sense identified with it more because it was like heavily on the cultural side. Like even though it's not necessarily my direct culture, but I have friends who they identify, especially with the main character of Miss Marvel and everything like that. That I just feel like it was a really dope series. So I'm really looking forward to the Marvels. I believe is the movie that's going to be coming after this series, especially the way that Miss Marvel ended. Again, the comedy in it was really good. It wasn't really corny. I know like
Yeah.
sometimes, like some people are not as big of a fans in moments when, it's kind of, well, I ain't gonna say big fans. Sometimes they hit or miss sometimes on the comedy side. with some of the Marvel projects, but she and the cast really did their thing. Um, the last thing is Wakanda Forever. Favorite movie of the year. People be like super surprised when I tell them I actually enjoyed it more than the first Black Panther movie. I just feel like I'm big on drama, and I just
Mhm.
feel like this was the heaviest that I feel like Marvel has ever gotten. Besides and just down to earth. Besides, you know, Endgame and especially Infinity Wars, and I would say to a certain degree even Civil War as well. That was kind of heavy, but I will say Wakanda Forever is definitely the best, in my opinion, one of the best drama approaches to the Marvel universe. The fact that they was able to pull this off with the absence of Chadwick Boseman, and being able to push this story forward, and the way they told it, being able to highlight the Mayan culture and incorporate that. Like to me, this was the best villain since Thanos. I'll almost possibly pick him over Thanos just because and it may be from me having friends who come from Hispanic culture and Mexican and everything. Uh, but I just feel like Wakanda Forever is just like top tier to me. You got to see Wakanda Forever, right? You haven't seen Wakanda Forever yet? What?
Safe space.
Hey,
First of
hey,
all,
now you coming for me for Stranger Things now. But come on.
safe
But
space.
no, but the cool thing about it, if you haven't seen it already, if you like me, if I don't see it within the first 2 weeks, I'm probably not gonna go to the movie theaters to see it. Just because of spoilers and just the energy, and I like people in the space or whatever. It is gonna be on Disney Plus February 1st. All
And that's
right.
what
So
I've been waiting for. Hey.
so yeah, so if you have Disney Plus, just remember that it's gonna be on there and make sure you jump on that. But speaking of Wakanda Forever, before we wrap it up, I just want to give a big shout out to the Wakanda Forever team. They did an amazing job, as Blaze will be able to see pretty soon. And we're going to do a wrap up on that again. But and shout out to Ryan Coogler.
Yes.
I know like people have different opinions on things when it comes to the awards and the Oscars and everything like that. I will say like based on what I saw and the fact that they was able to get, I believe, like 5 Oscar nominations, which was really big, especially even though all of it, especially Ms. Carter, who got best costume design, I believe, for an Oscar nomination, and then definitely Angela Bassett, who was able to get a nomination for best supporting actress.
And she's the
Um,
first ever
First,
actor from Marvel's movie to get
yeah,
that. That's like huge.
hey, and when I say she brought it, she brought it. So I'm ready. Like if you haven't seen it, definitely make sure you don't look up any spoilers or nothing like that, and just really check it out. But I really want to give a shout out, like I said, to the team and Ryan Coogler, especially. Like I thought he was gonna get nomination for best
That's director.
director, along with best picture, but it wasn't that time, unfortunately again. But I will say, man, like he's one of the best directors that I feel like we've seen in a long time. There's a lot of other directors that I've really been enjoying, especially like Gina Prince Bythewood, who was the director of Woman King, and a few others,
Which was amazing.
Yeah, so and I still gotta catch up on that. So that's a tap on my hand, So, but I still got to catch up on that. But yeah, like so, shout out to Ryan Coogler, and also just shout out to all the other great directors, especially directors, and just creators of colors that supported the overall production of some really great content. I know it's a long time coming, and sometimes especially those, it's not always about the awards, but especially when you put in some really great work, sometimes I'm pretty sure it kind of stings a little bit, but just shout out to you all and just keep on creating and putting us in the spaces where we can see ourselves in and stuff like that. So, but yeah, but overall, y'all, this concludes the first episode of Ambitious Views podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and everything. Blaze, do you got anything else before we tap on out of here?
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Rihanna for getting an Oscar nom for Lift Me
Oh
Up.
yeah. That is dope.
Yes.
Yeah, that is dope, man. She having a great year because she got. I think she won at the. Did she win the Golden Globe? She
She
didn't
didn't
win.
win at the Golden Globes.
Okay. So we're
But
gonna see.
sometimes the old myth used to be if you lose at the Golden Globes, you win at the Oscar or vice versa. So you never know.
Never know. Never
You never
know.
know.
Never know. Well, I'm going to be tuning in. I believe the date is March 12th. But definitely we're going to have more episodes leading up to then, and we're going to talk about some more things coming up soon. But again, thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to try to bring these to you as soon as possible, and we're going to just keep on growing. But the main way that you can help us grow is to share our content. It's going to be on Spotify and more platforms as we continue to grow. But in the meantime, y'all stay cool and peace.
Peace.